Last week on the Bitcoin Tarot podcast, Cosmic Conroy's tarot reading revealed something new will cause defeat and bring us sorrow. Meanwhile, the technical analysis report from Charting Chad said the flatness will end soon, but maybe not this week. Then the price of Bitcoin stayed pretty flat, jumping up a couple of times and ending the week 3% up. Conroy gets a grade E and Chad gets a grade C. Their GPAs are now 1.8 and 2.8. Technical analysis further increasing its lead. But what will happen this week? Will the price ever not be about 6,500? First up, to read the cards, it's Cosmic Conroy!
You are very welcome. This week's slow rise is quite encouraging, isn't it? Let's look at the cards and see if that's going to continue. We'll do our usual 4-card reading with cards representing the past, the present, the future, and a sort of overall meta timeline, reason for the timeline. Let's begin with the first card. This one represents the past 7 days in Bitcoin. And that card is the 8 of Swords. Interference. Well, perhaps this represents price manipulation. It tends to represent an outside or sometimes inner force which is antagonistic and defeating your purpose. Perhaps price manipulation indeed. Our second card represents the current moment in Bitcoin. And that card is the 18th trump card, known as the Moon. But in the tarot, the moon means something different to it does in Bitcoin. It doesn't mean high prices, it means illusion. It means disillusionment. It means not really knowing what's going on, which could well be describing the price of Bitcoin this week. So, what will the future bring? Let's look at the third card. Representing the future of Bitcoin, it's the 5 of Cups. Disappointment. Very bearish card indeed, unfortunately. It means regret and loss in our future. Perhaps the meta card will put a more positive spin on the reading. This one describes what the reason for this timeline is, and that card is the Prince of Swords. He's a warrior. He comes to bring us messages about forceful events, action-packed and energetic ones. He's quite the fighter and certainly the kind of person who's into manipulation and games. So I think that the meaning of the reading has become clear. The antagonistic nature of Bitcoin means the price has been interfered with and manipulated and is currently illusory. The price is wrong, and that correction will lead to disappointment. So the price is an illusion, and it will soon correct disappointingly. I hope you managed to avoid that correction, but until next week, may the Bitcoin bless you.
And now, representing the technical analysis crew, it's Charting Chad!
Everyone's talking about the big descending triangle. We're still in it, but it can't go on for long. Let's take a look at the charts. First up, here on the weekly candles, we can see the moving averages are very bunched up, but in fact the price has gone above the 50-day moving average now. We're no longer in maximum bearish configuration. We're maybe 15% bullish. 15%, not a lot, but it is better than naught. The more interesting picture though is this one of the descending triangle and the old 2016 channel. We're still refusing to break out up or down from the descending triangle, and we're refusing to re-enter that old channel. Not a lot of movement in the price, as you can see, very flat. But it's got to either go up or down pretty soon, probably in the next week or so. It's got to head downwards before or break out of the triangle. On the hourly candles, or the daily candles rather, we can see that more closely that we have indeed broken the 50-day moving average and refused to go into that channel. Adding a bit of markup, we can see we've got all of the moving averages except for the 50 and the top of that channel and the bottom of that descending triangle to all beat through before we could possibly go up. So it looks to me like we're likely to go up, but probably only to about 6,600, 6,700 before we move back down for a much bigger descent after that. So this minor uptrend will turn downwards sometime this week. That's it from me. It's looking quite dicey out there, so keep your tinder dry and get ready for the big move when it comes, probably this week, and I'll see you next week.
The Bitcoin Tarot podcast needs your support to fund a longer format show. If you want more detail and perhaps some altcoins to be examined, send donations to any of these 4 addresses. Whichever coins have the most money when we hit the target will get a special side reading from both Chad and from Conroy. Remember, if you can't donate, you can always like and upvote and share our links to while away the hours until we once again ask the question: can the tarot beat technical analysis in next week's Bitcoin Tarot podcast?